Alrighty, so today we are going to be, um, we have already shampooed and conditioned, and now we're going to detangle, blow dry, and flat iron and pin curl. Now, this particular client always wears her hair in pin curls, so much so that she brings her own pins back. Now, she is transitioned to natural not too long ago. She was still getting relaxers, but since she's been coming to me, we haven't been relaxing at all. We've just been blowing her out, letting that relaxer grow out. We still do color, and then we just kind of trim. So you might see some straight ends a little bit on the ends, but that's just because that's the additional relaxer growing out. But we're almost completely natural. And yeah, follow along. We're going to go ahead and get her detangled. Now, if anybody tuned in with me yesterday, we did pin curls on another client. Her hair was much shorter and she had more of a 4C texture. But this particular client, she's more in like the 3A, 3B range. So it's not nearly as tight of a curl pattern. And we're just gonna go through and get started. First, we're going to detangle. We're going to use the Design Essentials Bamboo and Silk HCO Leave-In Conditioner. And we'll just spray that all over the hair. Now, all of the products that I'll be using, you can find them on my website at curlygirlcoach.com. For those of you tuning in with me, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share with your friends, your neighbors, your enemies, your family, anybody that you think this could be beneficial for. So we're definitely going to be pinning and curling at the same time. And I just love, love, love pin curls because it really gives a lot of longevity for your styling. Hi, thanks so much for tuning in. So I always pretty much detangle everyone for those of you who are returning the same way. I part off the front into two sections off the front, and then I'll clip those away, and then we do 2 to 4 sections in the back. Now, whether I do 2 to 4 in the back is really going to depend on how thick or how dense the person's hair is. This particular client, her hair is absolutely gorgeous. It's not as dense as some of the other folks that you have seen for anybody who has tuned in before. But we're just gonna detangle. Sometimes I use the detangler. In this case, we're just gonna go ahead and use the Denman. So we're gonna use the Denman paddle brush to detangle as well as blow her out. So you know when it's time to go ahead and bantu knot once you can run that brush through without getting caught on any tangles. So we just, you notice I'm holding her roots, and that's just gonna take any additional tension off of those roots. She's not tender-headed, but if you have anyone in your family that you do their hair, little ones, or even yourself, and you have curly hair, it's always beneficial to hold those roots while you're detangling, and it's just going to make it a little bit easier on them. So I twist the hair all the way around, and we're just gonna make a nice bantu knot. This is really a transitional style, right? So the bantu knots, they don't have to stay on their own. It doesn't matter if they don't, because we're just using the bantu knots to transition to the blow dry. And it's an easy way to keep the hair moisturized, to keep it from drying out too much before you're actually blow drying. So bantu knots, whether I am doing a blow dry or going into something more natural after, bantu knots are absolutely perfect to transition after you're shampooing to detangle. So again, you put that hair in a ponytail of sorts and you just twist it around to the end and start wrapping it around in a little bun. Keep wrapping underneath the hair on top of it, and we're just gonna clip it in place. Sometimes you are able just to use use the hair itself. Sometimes you don't need a clip or anything to keep it in place, especially if you're using the bantu knots as your style itself. And you see, we're just gonna, it doesn't even take long for us to detangle at all. And we're gonna clip it and go our final section. Thanks so much for everybody tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button. You can subscribe at curlygirlcoach or at curlygirlcoach, or find all the products that I'm using and all of my other social channels at curlygirlcoach.com. So we'll keep on detangling, and I'll show you my blow dry method. I like to stretch the hair while I'm blow drying, and that just makes it a little easier to get it straight and while we're blow drying. So let's take that first section, and while we're blow drying, we're going to split it in half, okay? Just so it's a little bit more manageable of a section to take, and it's already detangled, so we can quickly go through and stretch the hair out. We're going to use our blow dryer with our heat director and blow dry down. We do the same thing with the next section. Stretch it out and blow dry. hair just silks right on out. Now, if you've seen me before, don't cut the hair. We're not cutting her hair today. And actually she keeps it a pretty decent length. We'll trim the ends as needed, but we will not be cutting her hair. Don't worry. No trigger warning needed today. We're just going to blow dry her. We're just gonna work our way through those top sections. As well. So we're gonna blow dry her, flat iron, and pin curl. To the side sections. Let's get the front done. Thanks so much. Her hair is absolutely gorgeous. That's a great question. I do round brush sometimes on curly hair. I usually use a Denman brush. The Denman paddle brush is my absolute favorite. So yes, so you can round brush, but I found that it does give a lot of body, which I love that. But with the round brush, but with the Denman brush, I like the control that I have using Denman. And a lot of times it's faster and gets a very similar result. So today we're just using the Denman brush. I do have some live videos where I do use a round brush to blow out natural hair. Let's go get another cake. At this point, after the blow dry, I like to go ahead and, yeah, it's definitely faster. I like to go ahead and change to a dry cape. And that's just because we shampooed her in that cape and we blow dried in that cape, and all of those were wet styling things, right? So sometimes the cape can still be a little damp, and because this is natural hair, if you still have additional moisture, the hair will revert, and that's against the whole thing we're trying to do. So we go ahead and switch the cape out. We're gonna use a wax stick. Now the wax stick is just, we're only gonna use that on the perimeter of the hair. And what that does is gonna help those edges lay down a little bit smoother. And then I'll just go through with my 1/2 inch baby flat iron my little pencil flat iron. This one is by Red. Okay, and then I just go through my press revert as I'm curling it. Yeah, so sometimes that can just be due to not blow drying it properly, right? So head down for me. So when you're blow drying, you really want to make sure that you're blow drying the hair not just dry for curly hair, you're blow drying it straight. So while you're blow drying it, there's going to be a point where the hair is dry but it's looking frizzy, right? So that frizzy look is not enough. You have to keep going until the hair is smooth. Those are my towels, excuse that. So keep going until the hair is completely smooth, and then apply your serum heat protection, and then go ahead and curl it. You might want to use a product that's a little bit heavier than what you're using, and that might be beneficial in keeping your hair from reverting while you're pressing it. Okay, so we're just going through and getting these edges. Now I'm gonna tell you a little bit about pin curls. Pin curls have been around forever, super popular in the 20s, and then they would actually use gels and mousses to set the hair in a pin curl, right? Sit under the dryer. That's where you get those Hollywood waves, things like that. Well, because this is natural hair, because this is natural hair, you're not going to be able to just do that because it has its own curl, and you're going to be fighting against the curl that it has. So we are going to go ahead and apply Design Essentials Silk Essentials Thermal Strengthening Serum. This is what we're going to use for our heat protectant. How much you need? A pump or two at most, right? You see that? Not a whole lot of product in my hand. Emulsify, that means rub it together and then start applying it from the bottom of the hair, because if you just so happen to put too much product in your hand and it's greasy, you're going to get some of that excess product off of the bottom. So just make sure that that serum is all the way through the hair. You're always going to use a heat protection serum or spray when you are using hot tools. It's going to prevent thermal damage. It's going to help your hair last straighter, longer, all those good benefits. So please use it. And then I part the hair off just like I section everything else off. You're going to part off in the middle or wherever your part is, those front two sections, and clip those away. I like to do that just because it gives me some additional control, and I can really see my sections, and I'm able to go through very easily. We're gonna clip this section away. And as we're pin curling today, we're just gonna use regular bobby pins. Some people like to use like the double prong clips, but that's not as easy to sleep on, right? It's not as comfortable. So we're just going to use closed bobby pins. She brings her bag of them because we do this every time. And yeah, just use these kind of bobby pins. And yes, so what I was telling you about, oh yes, and we're going to use a little bit of S3 spray serum. It silkens, softens, shines. Also add some UV protection, any UV protection, and then it's going to help the hair be a little bit more silky. So, part that off. Now the thing about pin curls as well, we could not pin curl her hair straight from here, right? Because pin curls are going to help you prolong the curl that you already have, right? So pin curling from straight is not going to work. we have to curl it first and then we'll pin curl it. The flat iron that we're going to use today is my favorite. It's the Paul Mitchell Neuro. It has a 30-second heat up time, and then it has those bevel edges. I'm not sponsored by them, but I wish I was because this is my favorite. And it's just going to give a nice curl, okay? So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. And I'll be happy to answer them for you. So the other thing about pin curls is the larger the section of hair that you put together, the larger the curl will be. The smaller the section of hair that you curl together, the smaller the curl will be. So I take about 2 sections, curl those, and then pin them together. Now you can curl your whole head and then pin it, but what I found is when you're pin curling hair and it's still kind of warm, you know, it hasn't cooled off yet, it allows that curl to stay a little bit more, right? It gives it that shape. And it's very nice the next day because you don't have to do a lot of styling at all. You're really just taking those pins out. You can shake and go. So with these pin curls, remember direction matters. We're going to pin everything toward the center of the head. So just imagine an imaginary line down the center of the head. Everything on this side, we're going to pin curl it this direction towards the center of the head. Everything on this side, pin it this direction towards the center of the head. If a pin ends up in the center, alternate whether it goes to the left or to the right. Now, when you're pin curling, the biggest thing is make sure the end of the hair is tucked in. That's going to prevent any fish hooks, and it's going to make the curls really pretty the next day. And don't put the pins in your mouth, you know. You want to reduce any germs. I just open the pins with my finger so that we can be as sanitary as we possibly can. I guess it's a little bit different when you're doing your own hair, but even still. And then we just put that bobby pin in. Remember, you can use clips, whatever you like. But I found that bobby pins are the most comfortable to sleep in. And just put that pin in and keep going. So we'll go to our next section. I like to keep my partings straight-ish, you know, just so we can have a pretty even, so we can have a pretty even heat distribution while we're curling her hair. You notice I'm really, of course you could curl using a curling iron. I usually prefer flat iron. It's my thing, but you could do the same thing with a curling iron and you would get the same results. But we're just going through and we're gonna curl with our flat iron. And then at the end, we'll give her just a touch of holding spray just to give those curls a little bit more longevity. And be sure when you're using your hot tools that you're using a carving comb. This is a carving comb, you see? And with the carving comb, it is going to it's heat resistant, so it's going to prevent your comb from melting. So if you've ever been doing your hair and you notice the bristles of your comb were starting to melt or something like that, that's probably because it is a plastic comb and you want to use a carbon comb. Now, they're a little bit more expensive, but they absolutely do the trick. And remember, everything on this right side of the head, we're going to pin it going, well, everything will be pinned towards the center. And just roll that hair up, hold it in, open your pin, and pin it. Hello, hello. So you see I'm smoothing the hair together to marry those curls. Pin the inside of the hair and roll it up. I do have an alternate method to pin. Afraid of heat damage. Okay, what is my flat iron on? It is on 410. Okay, so the thing is, a lot of people are afraid of heat damage, and heat damage is a very real thing. What can help with that is, of course, remember when you are blow drying, right? The magic is happening during the blow dry, okay? So if you're able to blow dry the hair straighter, then you are able to only use one pass for the flat iron. So you're not actually having to go over the same piece of hair over and over again. That can cause heat damage. Also, when you blow dry the hair straighter to begin with, you're not gonna have to use as high of a heat setting. And then consider, like, if your hair is color treated, you're not gonna wanna use those high temperatures because that can fry those ends, and it just really not only cause heat damage, but just damage to the hair in general, causing it to be drier and those things. So, and also using a heat protectant. So when you are using hot tools on your natural hair, or even if it's processed, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're always using that heat protectant. And it's just gonna help you not to have to use as high temperatures when you're styling. Hope that helps. And then too, like, I've noticed there are a lot of different kind of naturals or people with curly hair. I got my ladies that come in every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks to get their hair blown out, right? So they are what people are liking to call straight naturals. So coming in and blowing it out. And then you've got your ladies that they usually wear their hair curly and only blow it out, a couple times a year. That's me. I usually wear some type of natural style, protective style, wash and go, something like that. And I blow dry it a couple times a year, because keeping the integrity of my curls is really important to me. So I like a tighter curl, versus some of the ladies who may blow dry, flat iron more often. Those curls might be a little bit more elongated. So yes, I do live in the United States. There are several time zones in the United States if you are not here, but I am in North Carolina and the time here is 12:12. Where are you tuning in from? So we're still gonna keep doing the same thing. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. You can subscribe at Curly Girl Coach. And all the products that I'm using are at curlygirlcoach.com. So feel free to tune in there to get additional resources and see all the things that I'm posting and talking about. You can read some of the blogs there about different natural hair care tips. And then we're still just doing the same thing. Notice these are pretty big pin curls. They can be even larger. Some people like to use the jumbo bobby pins. Those are extremely helpful, especially when the hair is much longer and or thicker. And for my girlies that like to pin curl their extensions, those jumbo bobby pins are super helpful. On this row, well, these two rows that I pinned together, I'm going to show you an alternate method of pin curling. So there are a lot of different things that you can do with pin curls. Some people like to just use the pin curl. Oh, well, hello. Some people like to use pin curls only at the crown of their hair. They might wrap it around and then use barrel pin curls. And a barrel pin curl, those are the ones that look like there's a roller still in the hair. But they put those barrel pin curls on the crown of the hair, and that will give you volume at the crown. Then you got ladies that like their hair, wear their hair a little bit more sleek, right? And then you can wear it sleek, but maybe you want some drama in your bangs, or in your fringe, wherever you're from. And if you're one of those people, you can just pin your bangs and wrap the rest of the hair around. I have a video about that. Okay, so it's 11:14 a.m. for you. Where are you? So you use two fingers, wrap the hair around those two fingers, and then pull your fingers out. Still, you want to make sure that the hair is, well, the ends are tucked in, and pin it down. Again, but still remember the direction that you're supposed to be pinning the hair. Wrap the hair around your fingers. You can use one finger if you like, depending on how large you want your pin curls to be. But I found that this method is especially helpful when you have extremely long hair, and or extensions. So you just wrap it around and roll it on up. This is not my preferred method, but it is a method that some people like. So I wanted to share it with you. So we're parting that, and we'll just keep on curling until we get to the end. Oh, we got Texas in the house. We got South Africa. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. Some tips at night. So when you're going to sleep on your pin curls, some people feel like the silk pillowcase is, or the satin pillowcase cures everything. Now, while a satin pillowcase is great, you know, because it's going to keep that friction, keep that tension off of your hair. However, it is not going to help you maintain your pin curls, right? So you're going to need to tie them up. My preferred method is just putting on a hairnet. A hairnet is like one of my faves. It's super breathable. It's going to keep those pin curls in place. And if you want to put a bonnet on top of that, you can. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. If you don't like hairnets, I would use a scarf or a do-rag. Something, not just a bonnet. You're going to want something that will keep the pin curls flat and tied down. Okay? When you shower in the morning, make sure, if you are one of those people who wears a hairnet, you're going to want to tie that down with a scarf, put a bonnet on top, and make sure you wear your shower cap. Okay? Because especially for hair that is naturally curly, that steam is going to have it revert. And you don't want that. So not only that, be sure to go out of the bathroom. Don't style your hair in the same room that you took a shower, because it's still going to have that humidity in there. And all that is moisture still in the air. So if there's moisture in the air, your hair is still likely to revert. So remove those pin curls if you have a different bathroom, or if you have a mirror in your room. You really don't even need a mirror. Take those pins out, shake, and go. I'll be blowing my hair out later today. It will probably be this evening, more like. And I'm sure I'll pin curl mine too, because it'll be so late. But I will record myself taking them out, and I'll post that video for anybody that's curious on what the process is like, the styling process afterward. Now remember, we're going away from the face. So not only am I curling away from the face, I'm pinning away from the face. And that is going to give you just a nice style when the hair falls, okay? Now, because she does wear bangs, we typically, the bangs, they're a little bit straighter, right? So I just pin everything and then marry those bangs with the pins behind it. And I'll use like the open bobby pin for that, because don't want anything that's gonna give you a super tight curl at all. We just want it to go with the other hair behind it. So with this size of pin curl, she'll definitely have some curls, but it won't be super duper curly, but she'll have that longevity to her style. If the hair was already straight, let's say the curls fell out completely, you could either use hot rollers, flexi rods, something like that to reinforce the curl before you just pin curl it. Bantu knot, you can bantu knot your hair that's blown out, and that gives a really pretty curl after. But just remember, pin curls are going to reinforce the curl that you have and not create new curl. But it is absolutely a great way to hold that style in place and keeping you from working hard in the morning. Of of course, my parts are pretty straight. So because of that, but you don't have to have that when you are pin curling your hair at home, right? You don't even really have to use a comb. Just grab those sections, roll that hair around, making sure that the ends are neatly tucked, and pin it down. So, of course, for those of you just tuning in, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, comment, share, all the things that helps other people reach me. You know, if you know someone that might need some assistance or some tips on styling their natural hair, I'm your girl. We'll pin this section too. And of course, as we said, all the products that I'm using can be found at curlygirlcoach.com. It's really important that you use quality products on your hair, from the shampoo, conditioner, your leave-in. That's gonna make such a difference with how your hair turns out. I won't bash any products or any lines in particular, but professional products is definitely the way to go. So we're wrapping up here, and we're gonna trim the bangs, especially when you wear long bangs, you pretty much trim them all the time, so they're not in your eyes. This is the Paul Mitchell. This is a Paul Mitchell Neuro as well, but it's the 1.5 inch, so it's a little bit flatter. So with this one, we're just gonna use to smooth out the bangs. I can curl with this one as well, but we're just gonna give the bangs a nice bump. It's not really hot yet, but it's hot enough. Actually, they're not a bad length. So we can just nip them a little bit. Yes, good. So I'm just gonna split those bangs in half and just put them on back with the pin curl behind it, because we really don't want those to have a curl in them. So I'm Jamie with Curly Girl Coach. As I'm tuning out, we're wrapping up today for our pin curls. So we're just going to use a little bit of firm holding spray. This is by Influence. It has a nice hold, not very strong at all, but it's a flexible hold, but it's just gonna keep those pins in place. And then we will seal it all in with one more little spray of S3 spray. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, all the things. You can hit your notification bell so you know when I am going live or when I'm posting things. So you can find me at Curly Girl Coach or at www.curlygirlcoach.com. Thanks so much. Y'all have a good day.